Alright, forget the endless theory crafting. This is the team every free-to-play player should build if you want to crush the content in Dragonheir Summon Gods. Yes, other composition can also work, don't get me wrong, but Frost hits the perfect balance of control and damage, and it's pretty easy to be built. So here's what we're going to cover. First, the synergy, the matchup, the accessibility, and the uptime. I'm going to start with a very simple thing, and this is basically the Frost. Now, the Frost unit stacks slow and damage over time until the enemy basically is frozen, and still you're going to do pretty decent amount of damage. Now, this is one of the team. Basically, these two heroes are basically an epic one, pretty easy to be getted, and at the same time both together is doing crazy amount of damage. I'm talking about the Vidimir and also Rava. Now Rava obviously have to fire up before Vidimir to apply this frost effect with his ultimate to the enemy with the range 1.5 seconds with 75% chance, which is 100% when you level up, skill up this specific spell to inflict the frost for 10 seconds. So keep in mind it's for 10 seconds, but every second and a half you're going to apply frost. So it's like permanent frost for the next 10 seconds. And on top of that, after these 10 seconds, there is going to be 10 seconds after this, after the spell basically finish, which is close to cover the full cycle of 20 seconds. Upon expiration, the Nexus will explode, dealing some damage, but that's not the important thing. First of all, Rava is the hero that is going to apply Frost. Now, a lot of people are going to face him when they're doing their missions, and this bad boy is crazy. He's doing a lot of damage. I hate him, not gonna lie. But yeah, this is one of the things. And after this, with Vidimir, you can basically destroy the enemy. Now this bad boy is released an ice ball that is basically bouncing to 5 times between the enemy. The ice ball is more likely to hit the enemies infected with frost, so that's why Rava should fire up before Vidimir. And from there, when the enemies with frost are hit, their frost will be removed and causing explosion on the spot, doing some percentage damage on top of the damage that this frostbolt is going to do, which is like 520%, which is crazy. And the frost from Rava is going to be rebuilded because every 1.5 second is going to have a chance, which is like 100%. If you have enough accuracy, it's going to immediately refresh and you're going to get the explosion of the Nexus. So these two bad boys is working extremely well, absolutely beautiful synergy. But this is only the DPS that I'm currently showing you. The other free-to-play thing you can apply is Arion. This is a hero that you're going to receive for free. Absolutely brutal tank, and it's one of my favorite tanks. So far, one of my favorite tanks was Garius, but right now I have a second one, and this is Arion. And mostly I don't even, this bad boy is not even a skill up. Obviously I'm saving I'm saving all of my screws for more damage dealing, and especially for the Temporal Vortex team. But this bad boy is getting increased ally protection, absorb some of the damage that the ally is taking. It's absolutely good when there is some AoE from the bosses, and get 30% damage reduction and defense up for 1 second. Absolutely crazy hero. But that's not all. When receiving fatal damage, becomes immune to death and removes all control effect and debuff, and raise the shield, stopping the attacking, blah blah blah, and is getting receiving healing up to received healing up. The received healing effect is increased by 40%, healing over time 1.5%, maximum HP every second, and immune to all of the damage. This effect can be triggered once 1 minute or 60 seconds. This is what makes this bad boy extremely valuable, because in Grave of Venom, for example, where this combo, where the majority of the time this combo is used in Grave of Venom, this bad boy, you only need to survive like 1 minute. So first time if things go wrong, you're going to have a chance this bad boy not get killed, and after 1 minute he's going to still have the ultimate, this passive Undying Glory on. So this hero is extremely good. If you're looking for tank, this one is a very good one. On top of that, from the frost, not exactly the frost, but from the frost basically, or ice, okay, let's say ice, from the ice you're also going to get for free Vanara, which is also going to boost everything there. Now if you see from Psycore, you're going to see that the elemental affinity is giving crazy stuffs. So that's why it's extremely important for the player to find and build a very strong free-to-play player team if he is a free-to-play player, and like this, just to progress way more easy on the map. Obviously the first one is going to be for everything, all the poetic heroes, but later the thing get more concentrated, the buffs become more big, so definitely this frost team can serve you extremely well. And some of the bosses just can't handle the frost control, and I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Now the frost, if you have like 3 heroes present on the battlefield when the frost reach 5 stacks, in fact when reach 5 stacks and deals damage additionally inflicted to the frozen, it's like 3% for maximum HP, which is a pretty decent when we're talking about bosses. On 3 you have a chance to inflict frozen. The buff reduce the attack speed by 50% and recharge speed by 20% for 5 seconds on one target at battle start, which I think is also very nice, especially the recharge speed. I think this is one of the biggest debuffs in Dragonheir Sawan Gods, but still also the attack speed, which for example in the Grave of Venom you're definitely going to need something like this, because at the beginning you're not going to have this build that damage, you're not going to have the balls destroyed, there's going to be balls there with full HP, and it's going to be way more hard, and I think this one is going to serve you extremely well. And I'm not talking about only Grave of Venom, there is many places and progressions and even in the last challenges where you can use this type of team, and you're going to get pretty decent results like this. And here is the beauty of the frost, and this is, you can get the core heroes without spending anything. I already point you like 2 heroes that are extremely good, this one and this one, and it's basically epic one, which is, you know, one idea way more easy to be get it. And you're also going to get like 2 legendaries. Now if you want to get more further, this is for example a hero that I received, but you know it's not the one that is a game changer, but still you can get these 2 heroes that I think is core heroes just by getting some epic heroes there. And which frost heroes should you target first? Maybe this is also a good question that I ask myself back in the days when I start. First of all, look what kind of heroes you're going to be able to get. Okay, it's not exactly from here. I think this event actually finished. Yeah, I think this event actually finished. So I cannot actually show you the heroes from the journey, but yeah. But I think there it was also Voresh, which I think is extremely valuable hero from the Frost team. And here is the thing with the Frost, and this is the more you control the fight, the longer your DPS will stay alive. This is very important, and that's where your damage is skyrocketing. Right now on the Temporal Vortex, I'm trying to do the same. Now obviously this is not related to the Frost heroes because, you know, which place I'm on the place number 14. But yeah, this is not the case with the Frost heroes, but in general, if you increase the survivability of your heroes, they're just going to stay longer and they're going to do more damage. If you increase the damage and you sacrifice the survivability, there is a pretty decent chance your heroes die when they do half of the potential they can do with better survivability. That's why I think in Dragonheir Sawan Gods the survivability play a huge role. And with the latest changes, or basically by starting playing this game again, I see that the buffs and the debuffs is the way to go. There is extremely rare cases where brute force can actually win you some crazy damage, or there is a bigger chance you get stuck at some place if you only use brute force. You have to benefit from the buffs and the debuffs from heroes, and Frost one is having one of the best debuffs. Now I also have some other heroes, uh but yeah, Frost one so far is actually winning my heart, not because is doing this extra damage and at the start is reducing the attack speed and recharge speed, but in same time just the heroes is doing crazy amount of damage. And obviously it may arise a question, why does surviving longer directly translate into more damage? And the answer is pretty simple. It just your heroes is going to fire up more their spells. And the majority of the time, something that I really noticed by playing the game is the first one that is dying is my top DPS. The majority of the time. Now when I go in the Temporal Vortex, the majority of the time my Fora die. When I go in the Grave of Venom, the majority of the time Vidimir is dying. And I can go on and on and on, but yeah, at the end of the day, just having better survivability sometimes it's all about stacks. Sometimes you're going to get some extra stacks. Maybe I can actually give Fora for this example that she's getting some extra stacks. Get one stack of insight, increase alignment by 2%, can go to 30 stacks. So imagine what damage he's going to do at 30 stacks. It's like extra 60% alignment, which is going to do crazy amount of damage. And that's why sometimes survivability is actually the way to go. I can say absolutely the same, for example, for Garius. Garius is also having this spell when he's increased defense by 2% when he get hit, 50% chance to get one stack of defense up, and this can stack 30 times, which is going to be 60% more defense up. So but some of the heroes, just by lasting longer on the battlefield, is becoming so strong. And yeah, I think this is also one of the cases that you can achieve with the Frost, just having a bigger survivability. It's not translated directly in some kind of stacks that is going to do some crazy amount of damage. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're looking to stay longer there and do more damage. So yeah, this will be for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Let me know your personal experience with Frost heroes, or we can say for the all ice, because basically this is the Frost heroes and this one is actually the ice heroes. And you can see also my buffs for 5 heroes. The things are absolutely crazy. So yeah, wish you a great day and see you in the next video.